This video is brought to you by my Patreon members who get bonus videos like this unboxing of Life TCG dropping next week. Link in the description below. But you don't have to be a patron to win this mini box of Life trading cards. They're these cute animal cards that are perfect for casual collecting. To enter, just leave a comment down below about anything related to this video, and 7 days after posting, I'll go ahead and make a reply to the winner saying, hey, congrats, you won. This giveaway is open to anybody within North America or Europe where Germany is eligible to ship. However, if you win and you're outside one of these territories, I'll try and work something out with you. More info in the description. Ethics in games. Let's talk about the hard stuff. To be honest with you, for a long time, I didn't think that there was a convincing argument for the existence of fake Pokemon cards. Judging from the poll I put up, out of 200 respondents, most of you agreed. They're just a tool used to trick unknowing kids and parents out of their hard-earned cash. However, there were a few comments that brought important context that lined up with my own lived experience of the positives of fake Pokemon cards. But first, it's important to note that not all fake Pokemon cards are equal. While I was teaching English in Vietnam, I came across packs of these cards in a small bookstore being sold for relative pennies. And there were two different types of packs, those that imitated boosters and odd square-shaped repacks sealed with nothing but cellophane tape. A growing storm of stellar strength. Yeah, I don't think there's a code for Pokemon Live in here. The first thing you notice when opening the boosters is how flimsy the cards feels, and how it's obviously some sort of sticker stuck on a regular paper. The backs are so scratchy feeling, and the color is so saturated compared to the real card. Still, knockoff holo pattern aside, you can tell these cards are meant to look identical to the real thing, without spelling errors, inflated stats, or any of the usual tells. I didn't know a GX and EX could come out of the same pack, wow! Then we have the repacks, which are much snappier and feel much more substantial. They're in a style that Pokemon has never produced and feature a mix of real card art and crazy AI looking art. Sometimes they do their best to imitate a real card, but still have little errors. Other times you have massive HP values, crazy attack stats, and hilarious names like Super Giant Hell Flame Extinguisher. This one's in French for some reason. Ender. Wow, a shining Charizard that actually shines. Evolved from Fire Dinosaur. Pikachu wearing skin of Mega Rayquaza. So to recap, we have very fake looking fakes being sold as real and real looking fakes being sold as real. And I want to see if there is an argument that merits their existence. From a copyright perspective, no, not really. I would have to imagine that it is 1000% legal to sell these products under the Pokemon moniker unless your name is Uncle Nintendo. But that isn't really the interesting question here. I had privilege as a kid to go on these trips where we would explore different places in the world, and some of these places are a little less well off than where I came from. If you wandered through the markets, convenience stores, or anywhere really, you'd come across aisles and aisles of bootleg Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh cards, but with funny holographic patterns and very, very incorrect names. The best part was, they were cheap, something my parents took advantage of. I'd bring these cards home with me and throw them into my collection, aka my shoebox. Sometimes my friends would come over and we'd play some games, maybe swap some cards back and forth, and voila, the domestic circulation of fake Pokemon cards began. I apologize. The argument even back then, of course, is that one kid would rip off the other kid by exchanging their shiny, fake Pokemon cards for real Pokemon cards that actually had value. Not just financial value, mind you, but gameplay value as well. And that was just the past. Accessibility to these cards in the present has gotten even easier. With the rapid rise of online marketplaces and a dwindling ability to buy trading cards at the big box store before they're scalped, it's never been more confusing for poor grandma to go online and try to purchase legitimate cards for her grandchild. Surely Amazon must be safe, right? Watch out, they might be a scam too. What about these cute gold cards? The kids will love that, but how is grandma supposed to know what's real and what isn't? In these ways, the problem is worse than ever and people are susceptible to all kinds of scams. So in what world can the existence of these cards ever be justified? As I mentioned earlier, I spent some time teaching English in Vietnam, and on my off days, I would hop on over to Ho Chi Minh City, a large and modern city with everything you could ever want at your fingertips, for a price. If you want real, official Pokemon cards to play with or collect, you're looking at spending $7 to $8 on just a booster pack. That was too rich for my blood, so you can imagine a person earning a typical Vietnamese salary, it's not going to be for them. It's a luxury item and not accessible to most kids. But in all the local shops where many of these kids actually go, you can find these knockoff booster packs for 15 cents. Yes, they're not real, and they don't come with any of the necessary cards you need to actually play the game correctly, and they're not throwing energy cards and trainers into these booster packs, obviously. But the kids where I taught were making up their own games with their own rules to these cards. They treasured these cards, and not only that, due to the lack of a secondary singles market of any kind, because these are viewed as toys, not as investments, kids traded with these cards. Can you imagine that? Trading in a trading card game. It doesn't escape me that the individuals or organizations that are producing these cards are sending them overseas to the countries where these cards do have real life value. They absolutely do it with the intent of scamming people out of their money by selling these things, which isn't cool. And I agree, it does stink when a child is swindled out of a real card with a fake one, even if both parties didn't know what they were doing, but especially so if one kid takes advantage of another. It does harken back to the days of these cards just being about fun though, instead of being attached to a dollar figure. This isn't to excuse those manufacturing the fakes, but it does present a very real side effect of a whole new audience having access to cards that wouldn't otherwise, and it fosters the love of the game. For many of these kids in different countries, it's have these fake cards to play with or don't have cards at all. If somehow the Pokemon Company were able to shut down all fake card manufacturing and distribution and completely remove them from the market as to not devalue their brand, I suppose that would remove fakes from circulation and prevent people from getting swindled, which is good. But then you're taking toys out of the hands of the children that I was teaching, and that's not very nice. I do have reason to go back to Vietnam in the future, so maybe I'll do a sort of deep dive mini documentary into the underworld of the trading card game sphere over there. That would be fun. I don't know if there's a right answer to this question. A lot of the fakes that don't try and emulate real cards look very cool. Go ahead and let me know in the comments below, what do you think on the issue? How do you view it? Thank you for watching. Thank you to Vince for the music as always, and stay hydrated. I'll see you on the next one. Time for my grass drink.